learn how to play basketball, or volleyball, or baseball? How long does it take to learn how to play baseball? How long does it take to learn how to play the piano? Mrs. Magoo, how long does it take to learn how to play the piano? Right answer. Or the drums, or to clearly sing. Or how long does it take to speak a new language, or to work a computer? How long does it take to understand one's investments or one's own financial needs? How long does it take to learn about one's health and one's abilities? How long does it take to learn about our faith? I believe the answer is just like what Tanya said. I believe that the answer to all of these things and everything else is that it takes a lifetime. I believe we are lifelong learners. And when we open our eyes and our ears and our minds and our hearts, we learn something every day. Did you know that the Greek word for disciple is mathetos, and it means learner? To me, that indicates that to be a disciple of Jesus is to be a lifelong learner. Listen to this quote from Trevor Hudson and Stephen Bryant. Jesus accepts us as we are, but never leaves us as we are. As we open up to Him, He begins a transforming work in our lives from the inside out, forming His heart in our heart, His mind in our mind. Let me say that again. Jesus accepts us as we are, but never leaves us as we are. As we open up to Him, He begins a transforming work in our lives from the inside out, forming His heart in our heart, His mind in our mind. Well, as you've heard by now, today we're celebrating Christian education. Did you know that the purpose of Christian education is actually named in our United Methodist Church? It says this: Christian disciples today are invited to know and experience God as present and active in our everyday lives and in our world. The invitation is to know God in a uniquely Christian way. The biblical understanding of knowing has to do with knowing who and knowing how, as well as knowing what. In other words, it is an intimate and personal way of knowing God, much the way we know those we love. Our Christian education includes so many things, from specific Sunday school classes to study groups, to approaching our whole life as a lesson that we learn through the lens of our faith. The Apostle Paul encourages us in our journey of learning and discipleship. He says to us today one very simple but powerful verse: do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds, so that you may discern the will of God. And he goes on later to say that we discern the will of God so that we may live as faithful disciples. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds. That simple sentence has the potential to turn the world upside down. The world was turned upside down in Silver Lake this week. I bet some of you saw it. Silver Lake was transformed by a lot of garage sales and a lot of people. And people went through this process of cleaning out the clutter in their homes to get rid of it in order to begin anew. You can take that lots of ways. You can begin anew to collect clutter if you want to, or you can begin some new ways of life and learning. And you know, we even helped that process. We started Christian Education Focus 3 days ago when we helped the process through the church garage sale. What if we as a church, all of us here, cleaned out our spiritual closets so that our minds and hearts are transformed? What if we get rid of some of that clutter? What if we take some time? What if we take on a commitment to renew our minds so that we may discern the will of God both individually and as our life together as the church? We do learn in so many ways. We are blessed, so blessed in this church to have the commitment of our outstanding Sunday school teachers. As we've said before, we cannot say enough thank you to each of you. We have Sunday school classes for every age. I heard it's from 3 to 2,000. That's remarkable. It's outstanding. And we know that when we come together as preschoolers all the way through adulthood, we value the renewing of our minds and our spiritual growth as disciples. In our classes, we learn from studying the Bible, from the stories and experiences that we share together. We learn from our conversation, from asking the questions and thinking together and exploring and sharing our faith. We learn from the events of our world, from the ministries of others, from opportunities to be in mission and service. All of that is Christian education. Did you know that the first Methodist Sunday school was established in 1769? 1769. By an active laywoman whose name was Hannah Ball. And it was started in a town that was called High Wycombe, that was located between Oxford and London, England. The Sunday school was all about holistic learning. For in addition to teaching the Bible, teaching about our faith, it also taught reading, writing, and sometimes arithmetic. So you teachers today, you have it easy. The basic text was the Bible. That's what people used to learn to read as well as to learn the stories. And the general mission of that very first Sunday school was to deepen religious experience and discipleship. And from that very day, the Sunday school continued to grow worldwide. Still today, we are lifelong learners. Each one of you gathered here could tell a story about how you have learned something, anything, something in your faith. Something about your relationship with God and Jesus. As I was thinking about this, as I shared with the Sunday school teachers earlier this morning, I think I've probably been in Sunday school my whole life. My parents were devout Sunday school participants. So probably from the day I was born, I was carried into a Sunday school class. And I can remember being left at home with the babysitter while my parents went to the Sunday school class party. And I can remember the teachers in grade school and high school. I even had Sunday school teachers in college. And then as pastor, through all the years of sharing and seeing and celebrating and learning with Sunday school classes, I'm still learning. I'm still figuring it out. We are all lifelong learners. So what does it mean for you as you come here today to think about how you are a learner in the way of Jesus? What will you do this fall to keep learning in your Christian faith and belief? Remember in your hearts with gratitude, for we are so thankful for all the teachers we encounter in our lives. They may be our family, our friends, our mentors, our neighbors, those teachers in our schools, those teachers in our Sunday school, the people in our community who journey with us and discern what God is calling us to learn this day. I pray that together as the church, this fall will be a growing time of discipleship at Silver Lake United Methodist Church. And may each of us allow God to come into that newly cleaned out spiritual closet to renew us and transform our minds and our hearts so that everything we are and everything we do lives and loves like Jesus. May it be so. Amen.